Thank you so much, Greg. So before I talk anymore, because I know that a lot of you have listened to a sermon and a large group, and you've already sat and listened for a while, we're going to at least stretch our arms. You can stand up if you want to do this, but I just got up and it took me like 35 seconds, so you don't have to stand up. But reach your arms up. There's a reason here. Now you have 10 seconds to think of your best bodybuilder pose that you can do with your arms. You're allowed to stand up if you want. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Some of you are better at that than others. Good job. So obviously that is silly, but why am I talking about bodybuilders? I want you to look around. Miss Farah, look around. Everybody look around at the people that are here. You guys are all part of the same body. We're one thing, which is crazy. God took all these people that are in here, and he is knitting us together into one thing. We all come from different places, different backgrounds. Some of us know lots more than other of us do. Some of us, okay, let's be honest, most of us feel like we don't know as much as we should to do whatever it is that we're doing. But you guys, God is knitting us together into one body. It's funny because Greg kind of jumped the gun on me a little bit, but he just talked about us planting seeds. God has us planting seeds, which can be a hard place to be. And I'm going to jump the gun on Brad a little bit here, because this is Galatians 6, 9, and 10. And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. So then, as we have opportunity, let us do good to everyone, especially those who are in the household of faith. That's what God's called us to do. When you're in children's ministry, especially anything lower than like 4th or 5th grade, you don't necessarily see a whole lot of fruit. The fruit might be that the kid doesn't try to hit another kid with a rock next week. That's a real story from today. Thank you. The fruit might be that the baby doesn't cry immediately that cried last week. That might be all the fruit that we get right now. But you know what? The seeds that you're planting now, when they're 0 and 1 and 2 and 5 and 8, God is going to continue to bring people into their lives to sow those seeds and to water those seeds, and he's going to shine light on those seeds until somebody else, probably not us, gets to reap that harvest. So it makes our job a little harder than some of the other jobs, because we're sowing and sowing and sowing and sowing. But we get to sow. We do have to continually remind ourselves that this is a blessing that God has given us. That we aren't going to know all of the fruit that we ever and out they go. We have a plan for them. Sometimes they come up with their own plan. So I'm going to give you some practical bodybuilding tips, some things to help you in what you're doing right now to continue to be a part of this body. The first thing to do on a weekly basis is pray. We cannot do any of this on our own. We can't. You can try. I don't recommend it. Not good. So at the beginning of the week, pray for what's coming. Pray for who God's going to bring there. The next is prepare. And so that's going to look different depending on what it is that you're doing. But we all have something that we need to prepare. If you have curriculum, just read it. You don't have to memorize it. You don't have to memorize all the Bible verses in the entire chapter of whatever it is that you're teaching. But just read over it once at least. If you don't have curriculum, and this is for everybody then, it might even be something like preparing your clothes so you make sure you have your Rich Kid shirt. And it's clean and you know where your jeans are that goes with it. Now here's the deal. And I haven't explained this much, so here's why the Rich Kid shirts are important. Part of what Greg was talking about safety. We do have a safety team here. I'm sure you guys have seen the policemen that are here, but there are also volunteers that are part of a safety team, and they do not know every single one of your faces. But they do know that if you have on one of those Rich Kids shirts, you are a cleared, background checked volunteer and you're okay to be where you are. So it's going to make their jobs a lot easier if we all look like we're supposed to look. If you do not have a Rich Kids shirt, either because we are out of your size or because you've just never picked one up, shoot me an email or a text this week, because we're going to be ordering later on this week new shirts, because we have lots of little tiny people and we did not get enough little tiny shirts. The next one is pick up. The next P is pick up. And that means when you get here, pick up the stuff that you're supposed to be working on and set it up. So if you have supplies for curriculum, pick up the curriculum, make sure that your area is set up. If you are going to be changing diapers, make sure that your diaper area is all set up. There's something, if you're doing check-in, make sure you know where the new family forms are, because they're not always in the same place. And that's true for everything I just said. Our setup and tear down teams are awesome, but they are not the same people every week. And sometimes other people jump in, like some of you guys did today. And so sometimes things move and they float. And so you need to come in and find your stuff every week. The next thing is pursue relationships. Guys, there's 3 different relationships for you to pursue as you're part of this body. The first one is with one another. So again, look around your team. We're going to talk to our teams in just a minute. Get to know your team better. Do stuff throughout the week. Check in with one another. The next one is with the kids. Ask the kids, even the littlest ones, you can get to know them in some different ways. But as they get older and they can talk back to you, ask them questions about things that they're interested in. Get to know them. And then the third way is with parents. Get to know those parents, guys. As you're doing check-in, as you're checking the kids in at the door, as they're coming to get them and pick up, ask them questions. You can start out asking basic questions. Hey, how was your week? As they drop off. That's going to lead sometimes to more information so that the next time you see them, you can ask about the thing that they told you about that was really fun or really serious or really hard. So just ask questions. The next thing is participate. And this means participate in with the kids and what you're doing. So if you have a cell phone, which most of you in here do, you don't need to be on it unless you need it for your lesson. If you have a friend, and I might be talking a little bit more to people under 20 right now, if you have a friend in the class with you that's also helping out, talk to the kids before you talk with your friend. Okay? You guys are actually, for the most part, really, really good at that. Then we have, at the end of the day, put away. This looks different depending on what your job is and which service you're doing. If you're first service and you're in a classroom or you're in a small group, make sure it's set up well for the next service. If you're second service, make sure all your things are put away so that when the teardown team comes in, they can just scoop it all up and go into the road cases. And the last thing is pray. You're like, Sharla, you started out with pray. You already did that one. Well, today, every Sunday, pray and thank God for what he did, because he did something new every single week. He has done a new thing. As we're being built into this body, know that whatever skills and gifts you have, God wants that, and God uses that, and it is different. Everybody in here has a different thing, but he needs them all. For instance, Pat is amazing at lots of things. Pat, you are a fantastic toddler teacher. I love watching you. Great at coming up with curriculum. And Pat is also great at taking meals to families who have had babies. I can't tell you how many people have told me that you brought them a meal. Now, not everybody's going to be good at all those same things. Nolan? Raise your hand, Nolan. This is Nolan. Nolan is fantastic. And Chris, where are you? Both do media on the weekends. And they run the computers. That's not something everybody can do or everybody wants to do. You have to be able to pay attention to a teacher who is not necessarily going in order and find what they're doing and keep up with them in the computer. Jeremy and Kayla. Good, y'all are close together. Now, I doubt that either one of you would want to do the computer thing that Nolan and Chris are doing, but they are fantastic with crying babies. Both of them. They're awesome. It is fantastic. I'm sad that Cash is gone and we could demonstrate. Both of them can. Hi, Cash. See, I can make him cry so that they can calm him down. I'm really good at it. Not as good as my husband, Jason, but pretty good. Speaking of which, they are really good at calming the babies. Jason, especially with that one, not so much. That's not his gift, but he can stand up and talk to kindergarten through 5th graders along with Julie and Farah, and then Lisa and Norman with the preschoolers. They get up and they talk for a very long time and keep those kids' attention and teach them things that are amazing. And then Kathy, that's not your gift, is it? Getting up and necessarily and talking, no, for a long time. But Kathy has been amazingly faithful at being here for check-in, greeting those families. You are that warm greeting that Greg was talking about at the beginning. That is the beginning of those parents feeling that their kids are going to be safe. And then if you are under 20, I just want you to raise your hand for a minute. I want you guys to look around. All of you, I was starting to pick all of you, and I was like, there's just too many. I don't have that kind of time. But you guys are fantastic. I can't tell you on a weekly basis, a different person tells me how amazing it is that we have so many middle schoolers and high schoolers and college students who come and who serve faithfully in so many different ways. If I did not mention your name, it's not because you don't have a gift, it's because I just don't have that kind of time. You guys all have an amazing gift that God is using, not only to speak into the lives of kids, but also to support families as they're here learning about God, and then to build up one another. So I just want you to know that we see you, that we thank you for using your gifts in this way and for giving of your time. I get paid to be here Sunday. I'm here a long time, I'm not gonna lie. But on Saturday, I don't go someplace else for free for 4 hours every single week, or for 2 hours even. You guys are giving up a lot, and we know that, and it is amazing, the gift that you are giving. And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much. There's something I have for each of the groups that I'm going to pass out in just a second, some questions, some things, some tips for your specific thing, and then some questions for y'all to talk through. I think that we somehow lost the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade sign. So why don't we make this the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade table? If you have a question about where you're supposed to be, if you're not sure, let me know. But I'm just going to walk around real quick to the tables and bring you your little paper. And I'll give you about 15 minutes to do that. If you have a kid that's still in here and that wants to, did they take the tables down? Oh, they're out there? If you have a kid that's still in here, that we have pumpkins outside that they are decorating that they can color, that kind of thing. If you're not a volunteer, okay, so half the volunteers just went, wait, I won't do that. You could do it after. But thank y'all so much.